Hey horror fans, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm diving deep into one of the most criminally underrated horror gems of the early 2000s, Ghost Ship. Now, I know what you're thinking, isn't that just another generic haunted house movie? But stick with me here, because this maritime nightmare is actually packed with Lovecraftian elements that most people completely miss. We're talking cosmic dread, unknowable horrors, and humanity's complete insignificance in the face of supernatural forces that operate on a scale we can barely comprehend. Ghost Ship isn't just about jump scares and creaky floorboards. It's about isolation in the vast, indifferent ocean, where a cursed vessel becomes a trap for souls, guided by an entity whose motives transcend human understanding. The film explores that classic Lovecraftian theme of ordinary people confronting truths so alien and abstract that merely contemplating them damages their sanity. And at the center of it all is our main antagonist, a being who calls himself simply the Salvager. In this video, I'll explore everything you need to know about this antagonist and all theories surrounding him. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin.
In that little box.
The story that will haunt your dreams. Let me break down the entire story for you. And yes, I'm going to spoil everything because you need to understand the full scope of the cosmic horror to appreciate what we're dealing with. The film opens in 1962 aboard the Italian luxury liner Antonia Grazza, where we witness what might be one of the most brutal opening sequences in horror cinema. During an elegant ballroom dance, passengers are enjoying themselves when suddenly a razor-thin cable snaps and slices through the entire dance floor like a blade, bisecting everyone in half, except for little Katie Harwood, who was saved by her small stature, and the captain bending down to dance with her. Fast forward 40 years to 2002, where we meet our salvage crew, Captain Sean Murphy, Maureen Epps, Greer, Dodge, Munder, and Santos. They're celebrating a successful salvage operation when they're approached by Jack Ferriman, supposedly a Canadian Air Force weather service pilot. Ferriman tells them about a mysterious vessel drifting in the Bering Sea that can be claimed by whoever brings it to port. What the crew doesn't realize is that they're being manipulated into their own doom. When they reach the ship, they discover it's the Antonia Grazza, loaded with gold bars, 9 wooden boxes containing 28 gold bars each. But as they begin exploring, supernatural events start occurring. Maureen sees the ghost of little Katie. Greer hears phantom singing, and they discover the corpses of another salvage team in the ship's laundry room. When they try to leave, their tugboat Arctic Warrior mysteriously explodes, killing Santos and stranding them on the ghost ship. This is where the true horror begins. As the crew attempts to repair the Antonia Grazza to sail it back to shore, they're picked off one by one. Greer is seduced by the ghost of Francesca, the ship's singer, and falls to his death down an elevator shaft. Sean Murphy encounters the ghost of the ship's captain and discovers evidence of previous salvage teams, but when he tries to warn the others, he's made to appear insane and is accidentally drowned. The climax reveals the horrifying truth through Katie's ghost, who shows Maureen Epps what really happened in 1962. The sole survivor of another sinking ship, the Lorelei, convinced the Antonia Grazza's crew to murder all the passengers for gold. After poisoning the evening meal and shooting survivors by the pool, the crew turned on each other in greed. Finally, Francesca killed the last surviving officer, only to be killed herself by a hook to the face. The mastermind behind it all, Jack Ferriman, revealed not to be a human pilot, but a demonic entity who had been using the ship as a soul trap for decades.
You're a pathetic excuse for a man. She says jump and you jump.
The Salvager, Jack Ferriman's true nature. Now we get to the heart of our discussion. Who exactly is the Salvager? Jack Ferriman reveals himself as what he calls a salvager of souls, a demonic entity whose job is to collect souls for his masters in hell. He's not just any ordinary demon. He's essentially a supernatural contractor working for Satan himself, tasked with using human greed and sin to trap souls aboard the Antonia Grazza. What makes Ferriman particularly terrifying is his methodology. He's not some brutish monster. He's a manipulator who understands human psychology perfectly. He uses the gold as bait to lure greedy salvage crews to the ship, knowing that greed will make them stay despite the obvious supernatural dangers. Once they're trapped, he systematically breaks them down using their own fears and desires against them. Ferriman possesses several supernatural abilities that make him nearly unstoppable. He can mark sinful spirits and control them, forcing the ghosts of previous victims to do his bidding. He has shape-shifting abilities, able to take on the appearance of other people. We see this when he impersonates Dodge to fool Maureen. He can manipulate the physical physical world, causing their tugboat to explode and trapping them on the ship. Most disturbing of all, he can create hallucinations tailored to each person's specific fears and guilt, driving them to madness and making them easier to kill. The entity has been operating for decades, possibly centuries, using the same method over and over. He boards ships as a survivor, causes massacres, and then uses those ships as floating prisons for souls. The Antonia Graza is just his latest tool, a supernatural vessel that exists partly outside normal reality, drifting through the Bering Sea as an eternal trap.
I gave you a great opportunity!
Exploring theories about the Salvager's true identities. This is where things get really interesting, and I've got several theories about what Jack Ferriman actually represents. Let me break down the most compelling possibilities. The fallen angel theory. My first theory is that Ferriman is actually a fallen angel, specifically one who was cast out for the sin of pride. Think about his methods. He doesn't just kill people, he corrupts them first. He needs them to sin before he can claim their souls, which suggests he's operating under specific divine rules. The fact that he can't control or claim Katie because she's innocent supports this. He's bound by cosmic laws about purity and corruption. His hook tattoo and the way he marks his victims could be his version of angelic sigils, twisted for evil purposes. The ancient maritime demon theory. This theory suggests Ferriman is an ancient demon specifically tied to the ocean and maritime disasters. Throughout history, there have been legends of entities that feed on shipwrecks and drowning victims. Ferriman could be one of these primordial beings, possibly even the origin of ghost ship legends like the Flying Dutchman. His intimate knowledge of ships, his ability to manipulate nautical equipment, and his connection to multiple maritime disasters across decades suggest he's been operating in this domain for centuries, if not millennia. The soul economy agent theory. Here's where it gets really dark. What if Ferriman isn't working directly for Satan, but for something even bigger? What if there's an entire economy of souls operating on a cosmic scale, and Ferriman is essentially a supernatural businessman? This would explain his methodical approach, his quotas. He needs enough souls to send the ship home, and his professional demeanor. He's not killing for pleasure or even traditional evil. He's fulfilling a contract in a system that treats human souls as currency. The punishment manifestation theory. This theory proposes that Ferriman was once human. Specifically, he was the original sole survivor of the Lorelei, who corrupted the Antonia Graza's crew. After his death, instead of going to hell, he was given this eternal punishment, to forever repeat his crime, using ships to corrupt and kill innocent people. The hook that killed Francesca in the flashback could have been his own death, meaning he's trapped in an endless cycle of his own making, forced to be both perpetrator and victim for eternity. The Lovecraftian entity theory. Given the film's Lovecraftian elements, Ferriman could be a servant or avatar of something much larger and more incomprehensible. In Lovecraft's cosmology, there are entities that exist outside human understanding, and they often work through human agents. Ferriman's commitment about working for his masters suggests he's part of a hierarchy we can't even comprehend. The ship itself becomes a kind of non-Euclidean space, where normal physics don't apply. Notice how it drifts from the Atlantic to the Bering Sea without explanation. This suggests Ferriman serves cosmic entities whose goals are so alien that human concepts of good and evil are irrelevant. The temporal loop theory. What if Ferriman isn't just collecting souls, but is actually caught in a temporal loop? This theory suggests that every salvage crew he lures to the ship is actually the same crew, replaying their fate across multiple timelines. The gold never depletes, the ship never truly sinks, and Ferriman is forced to repeat this cycle endlessly. This would explain why he seems both knowledgeable about his victims and genuinely surprised by some of their actions. He's living through slight variations of the same events over and over. The most compelling aspect of Ferriman as the Salvager is how he embodies that Lovecraftian theme of cosmic indifference. He's not evil in a way humans can understand. He's fulfilling a function in a universe that doesn't care about human morality. When Maureen finally defeats him by destroying the ship, it's only a temporary victory. The ending shows him continuing his work on another vessel, suggesting that entities like him are eternal forces that can't be permanently stopped, only temporarily disrupted. What makes Ghost Ship truly underrated is how it uses its maritime setting to explore these themes of isolation and cosmic horror. The ocean becomes a metaphor for the vast, unknowable universe where humanity is just floating debris, vulnerable to forces beyond our comprehension. Ferriman represents that indifferent cosmos. He's not personally invested in killing these people. He's simply doing his job in a system that treats human souls as resources to be harvested. Marvelous verdict. The movie wouldn't be the same without the Salvager. So there you have it. The Salvager represents everything that makes Ghost Ship a genuinely underrated horror gem. It's not just about ghosts and jump scares. It's about our place in a different universe where entities beyond our understanding use our own nature against us. Jack Ferriman is terrifying because he reveals that our greatest enemy might not be evil as we understand it, but simply cosmic forces that don't care about us at all. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments which theory about the Salvager you find the most compelling. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more deep dives into underrated horror gems.